Hi, this is Francis and Sue on 52. In just a couple of weeks, we will have been married 52 years.
Yay! And there's crowd cheers.
I'm Francis.
And I'm Sue.
And we just want to share some thoughts with you. And the person who is filming for us is Laura, our oldest daughter.
Hi, hi.
And she has invited us to participate in this, so we're going to give it a shot. So, do you have any comment?
Yeah, I posted if someone had 5 minutes with you guys, what question would they ask? And one of the questions that came back was, how did you know that when you met each other, that you were looking at a person you could possibly spend the rest of your life with? I mean, you know, some people say, oh, I wrote a list of 100 things, or, oh, I just kind of stumbled upon it. I mean, you know, how did you know?
How did you know?
How did I know? Well, I knew because when you were playing the organ, and I asked you why, you told me it was because God would teach you if you wanted you to play. And I recognized that as you being a woman of faith. And even though you were drop dead gorgeous, that wasn't what got me turned on to you. It was your relationship with God.
That's cool.
Which got me turned on to you. And
wow.
That's why I kept pursuing you until finally we had a date. And so we went to a restaurant and we talked for a long time.
5-6 hours.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, about 5 or 6 hours. I'm amazed they didn't throw us out. Good thing it was an all-night restaurant, and we were tucked in a booth in the back somewhere, so we weren't bugging anybody.
So, Mom, what was it about Dad that intrigued you?
Oh, his looks.
I love how you're being so honest. Then what?
Well, he handled himself very well being the master of ceremonies for the talk that I went to.
And when you actually got to spend time with him, what made you not throw him out?
Well, I rang and... never mind. Well, he was the same faith I was. And that meant that I didn't have to expound on the faith and teach him and all of that stuff. That was all taken care of.
So you guys had a shared faith?
Yes, we had a shared faith, we had a shared method of worship, and we had a whole huge background of commonality in the faith and relationship with the Lord.
So if that hadn't been there, would you have continued?
I'm not sure. I don't think it would. I rejected other women because of that, as a matter of fact.
So faith for both of you, would you say, was the number one thing that had to be common?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what else? What else? I mean, you knew your faith was the same. Was there anything else that was a deal breaker or not for you that you knew you had to match on before you were able to say, this is somebody I could commit to?
Goodness.
Well, I wondered what he thought of as far as family was concerned. You know, I wanted 6 kids. And I got them.
Well, it was true. She wanted 6 kids and I wanted 6 kids. Now, how did I pick up on the number 6 kids? Because when I was in grade school, in 8th grade, I thought I was going to become a priest. And so I told my classmates, and they all laughed. And they said, no chance. You're going to get married and have 6 kids.
Oh, how funny.
And that's exactly what happened.
So what else is important? You've got faith and you've got family. What else?
Respect for each other.
What do you mean?
What do I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I approached him as another person. That doesn't sound very good.
Sounds fine. Go ahead.
And I respected what he had done in his life, and he respected what I had done in my life.
What about for you, Deb?
That, well, she was an accomplished person. She obviously respected me. I mean, in the conversation we had that evening, talking about a bunch of stuff, it was obvious that she was not just being frivolous and this is a good night to spend with somebody and I'm going to split and never see this guy again. It came across pretty clear to me that she was, this was a serious conversation about really deep issues that we felt were really extremely important for us if we were going to make a go of it for a long time. So that's, and that respect and that, and you can tell when somebody respects you. You can tell by the way they act. You can tell by the way they ask questions or answer questions, whether they give a flip about you and care about what you think. So we had the money, we had the faith down, we had the family down, we had the respect down, but we hadn't talked about money yet. And so she had been a working girl on her own for some time.
A working girl.
A working girl, that's what we called them, a working girl.
Yeah, that's what you called them back then, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's what we called them back then. Yes. And you want to say anything about what you did?
I taught school.
You taught school, yeah, right, okay, cool. And so I knew that you had lived on your own, so I knew that you didn't come back bankrupt. So then we started talking about, how do you deal with money? How do you take care of money? What's the plan that you're going to use to get along in life? And we both realized that we had to live within the means that we had. We didn't want to go deep in debt to acquire a bunch of stuff that we probably didn't even really need. And so that was kind of our common philosophy. Let's really talk about what we want to do, how we're going to spend money, and how we're not going to spend money.
You're going to spend all your money on me, right?
Absolutely. And it's paid off, every nickel.
So I heard you mention you knew that you didn't want to go into debt. And I knew growing up that we were taught if you don't have the money, you don't buy it until you do. But I also remember from a very young age that you guys have always been very charitable. Was that something that you talked about back then when you talked about money, or did that kind of evolve?
Kind of evolved.
I think it evolved. I don't think we brought that up in our original conversations, but when we saw a need, we had to help fulfill that need. When you have kids who are starving, who are living on the streets, we couldn't turn our back on them. No freaking way. And so we've been fortunate enough that we've always been able to find some to give to those who are less fortunate than us. Because the Lord has blessed us, and we in turn get a chance to bless others.
I remember when I was very young, and you were a professor, and Mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I remember something about sewing machines for an orphanage in Mexico. And I don't remember the whole story, but I actually found the receipt from the sewing machines the other day, cleaning through some junk. Do you have a recollection of that?
Oh, gosh.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, but yeah, we needed a sewing machine. And so we went to a sewing machine place, and they said that they would give us $50 if we brought in any machine toward the purchase of that machine. Mm-hmm. So we went to a friend of ours who had a thrift store, call it, and we went in there and we bought for $5 a treadle sewing machine. And we took that treadle sewing machine and bought her a brand new, very nice machine, a Bernina sewing machine. And their jaws dropped when we walked in the door with that trade in. It was so funny. It was a riot.
But I want to point out to you, I don't know if you've put it together, that you were very blessed to be able to get that discount off that sewing machine. But you had also taken money that took some food off your table to send $200 to an orphanage in Mexico so they could buy sewing machines.
Well, yeah,
You
we did
remember
that.
that?
Yeah, we did that. But, that was part of just these kids need to get off the streets and they need
Right.
to have clothes to wear, and
Right.
Folks would have to.
It's just a really neat story of you reap what you sow.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's a biblical true,
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
And you can never outlive the generosity of the Lord. You can never outgive the generosity of the Lord. It is just amazing how He looks out over us. And all the things throughout our life that could have gone wrong, that should have gone wrong, that didn't. And so the only other thing we needed to really think about was, where were we going with this relationship? Is this going to be a...
Did you just say to bed?
Yes, you did. Hey, Red. But, I mean, the very first
Redeem
night,
yourself now.
we had a really good idea of this was a match.
You weren't saying go to bed the first night, were you?
No, God, no. We didn't believe in sex before marriage. We thought that was an awful thing to even contemplate. That was totally disrespectful of the other person. And we didn't want to do that. We respected the other person enough to let them keep what they had until they could share it with their husband or wife. Okay. But the other thing is that we decided when we were talking that one word would never come up with respect to our relationship with each other. And that word was divorce. It wasn't a part of the vocabulary. It was not a part of the conversation. You got into this freely of your own free will. And now, by golly, you better make it work, because that's the way the Lord wants it. For this reason, a man and a wife will cleave to each other. They become one. And so, hey, marriage is not something to be taken lightly. You don't just jump in and out of marriages like you see a whole bunch of people do today. We never had that attitude. Our attitude, hey, this is it, this is once, we're committed to it, and that's the way it is. We had some tough times, we had some arguments, we had some disagreements. Hey, divorce was never a part of it.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, that's kind of a synopsis of a couple of cups of hot chocolate or coffee. And so we were able to talk a little bit about faith, how faith is important to us. We talked about the responsibility of money management and not overspending. We lived that life that way, And our family was always first. I mean, the family came first. I just remembered that one Thanksgiving, we didn't have enough money for all the turkey and trimmings.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You want to tell them what happened?
Yeah, we set the dinette with paper plates and paper cups and paper everything, so I wouldn't have to do dishes. And we served spaghetti.
That's right. That's right. We served spaghetti, but you had to eat it with your fingers.
I remember that. We want spaghetti with no dishes.
Yep. So, thank you for sharing with us our little bit of time here. And God bless you all. And
will you just recap just the top 5 things that you were talking about here?
yeah, we talked about faith in God and faith in each other. We talked about not throwing money away, but spending money wisely. Talked about how important family is and how many children we're going to have, and opening ourselves up to God's will in our lives on that aspect. And we mentioned about how important it is to us even today, how much we respect each other and honor each other with the way we treat each other, and recognizing that she is a precious gift to me, a gift that God gave me. And we thank God for it. And then also we mentioned that a marriage is a commitment. It's not a commitment for a year or two. It's not a commitment, I'll try it out and see if it works. Once you go in front of the Lord and say, I take this man or this woman for my spouse, that's it. Now you got to make it work out.
Yeah.
But it can't happen. I mean, we're living proof, at least for two of us. We were crazy enough to get through it with the faith of God.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for being so transparent. Thank you for being willing to share, because you have helped a lot of people, including your own children, learn what life is about and how to navigate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.